All right, welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in, because today we're completely demystifying the wild, rapidly evolving world of commercial EV charging. Look, if you think transitioning a fleet to electric is just buying some new trucks and plugging them into a wall at the end of the day, well, you are in for a massive paradigm shift. We're going to break down the logistics, the hardware, and the software revolution that's literally making the future of commercial transport completely frictionless. Let's get into it.
Okay, to really set the stage, let's anchor our discussion on this quote from Mike Roth. He's the executive director over at NACFE. He says, "Charging infrastructure is just one part of a system integrating your vehicle needs, electricity rate structure, and the timing and cost of bringing additional electricity to your site." That right there, that perfectly establishes the absolute massive logistical stakes we're talking about today. Fleet electrification isn't just a vehicle upgrade. It's a total systemic overhaul. You basically have to become a master of grid economics.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll cover the EV charging ecosystem. Second, choosing your charging hardware. Third, steps to electrify a fleet. Fourth, the plug-and-charge revolution. And finally, a frictionless electric future.
Section 1. The EV charging ecosystem.
So, the really crucial point here is that fueling your fleet economically requires a serious balancing act. You absolutely have to minimize your peak demand, which is basically the maximum rate you're pulling power from the grid, while maximizing your off-peak charging times to keep those electricity costs in check. The NACFE report actually calls figuring out your power needs an iterative, chicken and egg kind of planning process. It's way more complex than just planning out a diesel yard. To put this into perspective, think about this. A 1 megawatt-hour charge can be delivered as 100 kilowatts over 10 hours, or it can be blasted as a massive 1 megawatt over just a single hour. Spreading that charge over a longer time at a lower power level, that is almost always the cheaper route for both your physical infrastructure and your monthly electric bill.
Moving on to Section 2. Choosing your charging hardware.
Now, when it comes down to the physical equipment, your two main hardware paths are going to be dictated by your power availability and exactly how fast those vehicles need to get back out on the road. First, you've got Level 2 AC charging. This uses EV supply equipment to deliver AC power, which the truck then has to convert to DC power itself. This gives you up to 19.2 kilowatts of power, and honestly, it's usually plenty for Class 3 through 6 vehicles that just park overnight. But then you have DC fast charging, Level 3. This totally bypasses the vehicle's onboard converter and pumps DC electricity straight into the battery. We're talking massive power ranges here, anywhere from 22 kilowatts all the way up to a staggering 480 kilowatts. It's incredibly fast, but as you might guess, it is significantly more expensive to install.
But here's the thing. Hardware is only half the battle. Actively managing when and how you charge, that is the real secret sauce to keeping those hefty electricity costs down. You're looking at three main network types. Non-networked is basically for predictable residential use, not what we want here. For commercial fleets, you want either closed networks where a local server exclusively manages charging right on your site to optimize power, or open networks. Open networks connect your stations to multiple off-site networks managed by third-party vendors. Nailing down the right management network is absolutely key to ensuring your vehicles are fully juiced and ready to roll at the absolute lowest cost possible.
Section 3. Steps to electrify a fleet.
All right, so we know the hardware and the networks, but how do we actually build this out? The NACFE report gives us a brilliant 10-step blueprint, and rather than getting bogged down in every single tiny detail, just look at how logically this whole process flows. You start out with early planning, getting your internal manager in place and aligning with vital stakeholders like your landlord and utility company. Then, you transition into hardware procurement and really assessing your site's electrical service. And finally, you move into designing the actual site plan, pushing through the heavy construction and commissioning the hardware. This whole process shows us that fleet electrification is a highly structured, multi-phase marathon. It is definitely not just a quick, one-and-done purchase. And out of all those steps we just talked about, I literally cannot stress this next point enough. Look at this quote from Jennifer Deaton at Encore. "You absolutely must treat your local utility as a primary partner from day one. Electric trucks pull a massive, massive amount of power. And upgrading the grid to deliver that kind of power to a commercial facility, that can take a really long time. If you aren't communicating your 5, 10, or 15-year plans to your utility company right out of the gate, you're going to end up with a gorgeous yard full of shiny new chargers and absolutely zero power to run them. No one wants that."
Section 4. The plug-and-charge revolution.
Okay, we've built the station. Now let's shift gears and talk about the software layer. Because to appreciate this revolution, we really need to understand the friction problem. Historically, drivers have dealt with a massively frustrating, fragmented experience at the charger. As commercial EV adoption grows, these drivers are being forced to navigate this annoying maze of multiple proprietary apps, carrying around different physical RFID cards, and dealing with clunky manual inputs just to get some power. It creates so much unnecessary friction in an operational process that really should be completely straightforward.
Enter Plug-in Charge, or PNC. This is powered by a standardized protocol known as ISO 15118, and it is a total game changer. This tech allows the EV to automatically authenticate, initiate the charge, and securely process the payment the exact second it is plugged in. Think about it like your smartphone automatically connecting to your home Wi-Fi network. With Plug-in Charge, the vehicle itself literally becomes your digital identity. No more apps, no more lost RFID cards, no manual inputs, just plug it in.
Let's quickly walk through how this incredible digital handshake actually works. Step 1, the vehicle gets plugged in and the system detects that connection instantly. Step 2, the charger and the EV start talking to each other using that ISO 15118 protocol. Step 3 is the certificate exchange. A secure digital certificate stored right inside the vehicle is shared with the charger. Step 4, the system does a rapid back-end authorization to verify the identity and billing. Step 5, the session initiates and power starts flowing immediately. And finally, Step 6, automated billing just quietly happens in the background once the session wraps up. Secured by public key infrastructure, all of this crazy encrypted communication and identity verification happens completely invisible in just a matter of seconds. It's honestly amazing.
Section 5. A frictionless electric future.
So what is the ultimate takeaway of combining smart infrastructure with this kind of automated software? Well, we are finally leaving behind the old way, that clunky manual chore that was just plagued by authentication failures and super frustrated drivers. The plug-and charge way totally flips the script. You just plug in, it authenticates, it charges, and it bills automatically. Zero user interaction required. It is completely invisible, seamless experience.
And for the business-minded folks out there, this is about way more than just driver convenience. Plug-in Charge is a massive operational enabler. By cutting out all those manual steps, you drastically reduce authentication failures and IT support tickets. It standardizes access, which means your drivers aren't going to be stranded if they have to visit an off-network station. And most importantly, for commercial fleets, it seriously improves your overall charger utilization, cuts down on idle time, and speeds up vehicle turnaround at your depots. It keeps your business moving without getting bogged down by technical delays.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this really provocative thought straight from the NACFE report. The transition to electric commercial fleets is complex, no doubt about it. It requires careful, iterative planning, deep partnerships with your utilities, and really smart hardware and software choices. But if you're just sitting around waiting for the absolute perfect, frictionless intersection of vehicles, energy, and infrastructure before you make a move, you're just going to be parked on the sidelines while your competitors zoom right past you. The absolute perfect solution might never actually arrive. So armed with all this knowledge, what are you waiting for? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I really hope this sparks some serious curiosity for you, and I will catch you on the next one.